and now call into order the April 27th, 2020 Tualatin City Council meeting. Welcome everyone to our third virtual meeting, and we're getting better and better each time. We have a few items on the agenda tonight, not super crowded, which is kind of nice. First up, we have two announcements. Our first announcement is a proclamation declaring May 10th through 16th, 2020 as National Police Week in the city of Tualatin, and that'll be read by Councilor Brooks.
Thank you. We are the proclamation declaring the week of May 10th through the 16th, 2020 as National Police Week in the city of Tualatin. Whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated the week of May 10th through 16th, 2020 to be dedicated as National Police Week, and May 15th of each year to be Police Memorial Day in honor of the federal, state, and municipal officers who have been killed or disabled in the line of duty. And whereas it is known that on average, one law enforcement officer is killed in the line of duty somewhere in the United States every 58 hours. Since the first known line of duty death in 1791, more than 21,000 U.S. law enforcement officers have made the ultimate sacrifice. And whereas law enforcement officers, including Tualatin police officers, are our guardians of life and property and defenders of the individual rights of freedom. And whereas the city of Tualatin is proud of our law enforcement officers and wish to recognize their commitment to the public safety profession. And whereas the Tualatin Police Department and officers provide the highest quality services and are committed to the highest professional standards, working in partnership with our community to meet the challenges of reducing crime, creating a safe environment, and improving our quality of life. Now, therefore, be proclaimed that the city of Tualatin designates the week of May 10th through 16th, 2020 as Police Memorial Week in the city of Tualatin to call attention to Tualatin police officers for the outstanding service they provide to our community. The city council also calls upon our residents and businesses to express their thanks to the men and women who make it possible for us to leave our homes and family in safety every day and return to our homes knowing that they are protected by men and women willing to sacrifice their lives if necessary to guard our loved ones, property, and government against all who would violate the law. Introduced and adopted this 27th day of April 2020.
Thank you. Anything you'd like to say, Chief Steele?
Oh, just thank you very much for that proclamation. I know it means a lot to our staff to have the support of the council. I'm very proud of our staff, especially, the last month and a half or so, that, the dedication they've shown to continue to make this a safe community. So again, just thank you for your support.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all our officers. It's always a tough time to be an officer. You always have your life at risk, but right now it's compounded where, when you got germs flying around and stuff like that, they can get you in addition to a bad person or something like that. So appreciate them being on the front lines and protecting the community. So next item on the agenda is another proclamation, and that's a proclamation declaring the week of May 3rd through 9th, 2020 as Public Service Recognition Week, and that'll be read by Council President Grimes.
Thank you. This is a proclamation declaring the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2020 as Public Service Recognition Week in honor of the public employees of the city of Tualatin. Whereas public service is an honorable calling that involves a wide variety of challenging and rewarding professions, including providing recreational services, maintaining public safety, improving transportation, protecting our environment, and performing administrative and management activities which are essential to efficient and effective operation of government. And whereas Tualatin City employees contribute significantly to the quality of life for the Tualatin community, and their commitment to excellence, high ethical standards, and diversity of skills, and we love them dearly. And whereas excellence in the delivery of public service helps keep Tualatin strong, prosperous, and a wonderful place in which to live, work, play, and volunteer. And whereas this commemoration provides an opportunity to express our appreciation for the many contributions public employees make to our daily lives. Now, therefore, it is proclaimed by the Tualatin City Council that the week of May 3rd through 9th, 2020 be Public Service Recognition Week in the city of Tualatin, and the council encourages all citizens to recognize the accomplishments and contributions of public employees. Introduced and adopted this 27th day of April, 2020.
All right. Anyone have any comments? No, I'll throw one out. Well, I do appreciate city staff. They work very hard. And again, just like the police at this time, it's really tough to work, especially if you're doing water, sewer, public facilities kind of work, cleaning up the parks, having to do the social distancing, and keep in mind that you're trying to make sure you don't pass any germs on and you don't get any, you don't receive any germs. But it's always a tough job to do, especially the folks who are up early, cleaning the parks, cleaning the streets, and those folks who are, keep our infrastructure intact, that everyone wants their water to work, wants their electricity to work. So very much appreciate all those folks who are on the unsung heroes here in Tualatin. We get to see them 3 times a year, either at a luncheon where we serve food or at the Christmas time where we serve breakfast. So just wanted to say, a great big thanks to all these folks, and we do appreciate your work. And I always hear from residents that they're super happy with city staff, and when they have any phone interactions or walk in, that they're very polite, efficient, and they get the job done. And 99.9% of people leave very happy, which is what we want.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council, for your support and this proclamation. We do have just a wonderful workforce that cares about the community and cares about doing a good job. And I'm so proud of our organization always, but especially during this time where it's really tough and we're all kind of juggling different things, and there's different levels of stresses, and our employees are stepping up to the challenge and doing a wonderful job. So thank you very much. And I know it means a lot to them to have your support in this proclamation. So thank you.
Well, thank you. All right, now we're up to citizen comments. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the council regarding an item that is not on tonight's agenda. Please keep your comments to about 3 minutes. If there's anyone here or in Zoom land or at the poll center who would like to address the council, this would be an appropriate time. I already know Linda Mulholt is pre-signed up to tell us a little bit about the Gift Cards for Good program. Linda.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors. It's wonderful to see you this evening. It's been a while. Great to be here. First of all, I'm really honored to be here and chime in on the proclamations that you guys just gave out. Fabulous work, and we just believe in what you're doing. And especially thank you for the $250,000 to small businesses in our community. I've heard from a number of them, and they are so forever grateful. It was a huge undertaking. I know your economic development manager, Jonathan Kaler, was pretty exhausted by the end of it, but he had lots of good teamwork and effort, and the criteria sounds like it was very fair. And I was especially pleased not to have made that decision. So thank you for that wonderful gesture. I'm here tonight to talk about, again, our motto, business and community working together. And another great employee in your service is your city manager, Sherilyn Lombos. one day she's emailing me and she's like, Linda, I've been thinking about, how many businesses, especially restaurants, are suffering, and how many of our wonderful residents are unemployed. And I think there's a way that we can connect these two different groups. And she said, I've been thinking that, about gift cards and about that would help if we bought more gift cards, that could help support, local restaurants. What could we do on the other side? And I'm like, perfect opportunity. Our food bank, it covers all people within our community. They do not discriminate against anyone. You just have to say, I need help. And they are there to help and support the community. So we started talking. I'm like, let me get back to you. Let me think about this. And I was talking with KJ Lewis from Republic Services. And I'm like, Sherilyn's got this great idea, but we need like a logo, we need a handle, we need a story, to help share. And she's just like this creative lady, and she's just instantly gift cards for good. And it's stuck. And Fates, are you able to share the gift cards for good flyer? I'm working at home right now, so I don't have the same setup. Here's, this was created in-house, so this is not, quote, professionally done, but I think it does get the message across, gift cards for good. You buy the card and we will get it to the Tualatin Food Pantry. And they did change their name. It's no longer the Schoolhouse Pantry, it's the Tualatin Food Pantry. And just to give you an idea, we set up 2 different locations that this could work. You could personally go out and buy the gift card. And Sherilyn got us a drop box at the city library, and you could drop the cards off there. And then once a week, every Monday, Jerry Ann brings them over to me. Or if you don't want to go out and you're concerned about being out and about in the community, you're able to go right online at the chamber website and purchase them yourself. This option, I must admit, is a little clunky. We don't have a retail component to our website. So we've used an event module and we've made it work, but people are buying. And here's the best part. People are also donating. Restaurants are donating and Bridgeport Village has donated. So I just am going to give you a recap of these numbers. And we started in March. So this is truly a March function. City Dropbox, $935 in gift cards. And it's not an equal $25 per card because we have some folks give us individual cards that were in a packet of $15 each. The chamber website, we've so far received $1,250 and donations. Individual restaurants donating. When I bought one there with the program money, they matched it. So we've had $375 come in that way. And when I was working with Bridgeport Village, they were so excited. And people forget that there are wonderful restaurants at Bridgeport Village because their retail is closed. But the restaurants are open and they're doing takeout. And so they got behind the program. Kimberly Blue went to Fred, and Fred said, this is something we could support, use our marketing budget. And they brought to us this last week $1,100 in gift cards. So totally our numbers add up to $3,660. And I think that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So thank you, Sherilyn. Thank you, everyone, for the efforts on this. Huge thumbs up. And I could see this program going on and on for a very long time. Most of our families go to the food pantry only once a month. So these have been passed out. They're open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they've been passed out randomly. So one day they might do the 3rd car because they're doing curbside pickup. They don't make a big deal about it. I put them in unmarked envelopes and it's just stuck on top of their box of groceries. But they had one lady call in and she's like, you will not believe this. Today was my birthday and that is the only present I received. And it was to my favorite restaurant. So it was like a win-win. Everybody was so excited. And now when they come back this month, it'll be a different group, most likely, that gets a gift card, but people will start getting excited about it. They wanted to keep it really neutral so that nobody would feel bad that they didn't get a gift card. Just kind of make it just a little nice little extra special when they unpack their groceries. So I think that's just about as good as it can get. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, Sherilyn and Linda, I've been telling other mayors about it during our mayor phone calls. and other jurisdictions are pretty jealous of this. I think I heard Beaverton wants to copy it.
Oh, they should.
You took the lead on this, and I very much appreciate you helping out people in our community.
Well, you know what's been kind of fun? I'm working alone out of the office. And so Ron's, he's grounded at home. He volunteers at the high school and he can't do that. So he comes down once a week, picks me up, and we go out for lunch someplace new usually. And we're buying gift cards around town. So it's been really fun for me to get out. And it takes some time, but it's so well worth it. And I've been able to connect with a lot of people that I often don't get to see very often because when there's regular meetings at lunchtime, normally I don't usually get to get out. So it's been good all the way around.
Great.
For me too.
All right.
Anyway, thanks guys. Have a nice night. I'm going to check out. You're doing
You
just
too.
fine without me.
All right. Is there anyone else here within Zoom? I don't see a lot of things here, but Bates might see somebody. Everybody,
Mayor?
Yes.
I was going to try and say something to Linda before she left, but I'll just shoot her an email. No worries.
No, Mayor, this is Bates. No one is at the poll center and no one else has chimed into the public comment section of Zoom.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. These are items that are considered routine. They will be adopted by one motion unless someone in the council will like the item removed and heard separately later tonight. Tonight, the consent agenda items consist of only one item. It's item number 1, consideration of approval of the regular meeting minutes of April 27th, 2020. Would anyone like this to be removed from the consent and heard separately?
A motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as read, which is consideration of approval of regular minutes of April 27th, 2020 meeting. I guess I'll get a roll call. Okay, Councilor Brooks.
Aye.
Councilor Kellogg.
Aye.
Councilor Pratt.
Aye.
Council President Grimes.
Aye.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Morrison.
Yes.
And I vote yes also. So they are unanimously approved. All right. Item number 1 in public hearings, our next item on the agenda is consideration of ordinance number 1432-20, requesting the annexation of approximately 1.2 acres of public right-of-way identified as Southwest 120th Avenue on tax map 2S127C into the city of Tualatin, withdrawing the territory from the Washington County Enhanced Sheriff Patrol District and annexing territory into the boundary of Clean Water Services, file number ANN 20-0001. Since this is a quasi-judicial annexation hearing, I've got a formal piece of script I have to read for the Oregon legislature. So this is a quasi-judicial hearing. It is an expedited annexation to the city of Tualatin. The state legislature requires the following information to be read: ORS 197.763(5) and 6 and ORS 197.7963B. 1. Criteria for approval of the proposed annexation are in TDC 33.1010. The territory to be annexed is within the metro urban growth boundary. The owners of the territory to be annexed have petitioned to be annexed. The application is consistent with applicable provisions of ORS Chapter 222. The property is contiguous to the city or separated from it only by a public right-of-way or stream, ORS 222. Whether the annexation is consistent with directly applicable criteria for boundary changes in the Metro Code. An urban service provider agreement or annexation plan adopted under ORS 195.065. Urban planning or other agreement other than those under ORS 195.065 between the affected entity and the necessary party. Comprehensive plan and public facility plans, regional framework plan or functional plan, whether the proposed change would promote or not interfere with the timely, orderly, and economic provisions of public facilities and services. And finally, consistency with other applicable criteria for the boundary change in question under state and local law. Item 2, testimony and evidence must be directed toward the above criteria or those criteria in the development code which you believe apply to this decision. Item 3, if additional documents or evidence is provided in support of the application, any party shall be entitled to a continuance of this hearing. Item 4, unless there is a continuance before the conclusion of the initial evidentiary hearing, a participant may request before the hearing is closed that the record remain open for at least 7 days after the hearing. Item 5, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the council and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. The failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow this council to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. Item 6, the hearing will begin with city staff report, followed by testimony in favor of the application, followed by opposition to the application. Rebuttal will then be permitted. Then the hearing will be closed and the council will deliberate towards a decision. Item number 7, if any council member wishes to announce any potential conflict of interest, bias, or ex parte contact, they should do so now. Looks pretty quiet. Everyone's shaking their head no. All right. So that's the end of that script. So let's go ahead and start with the first part of the public hearing, and that's city staff.
Good evening.
Hey, Tabitha.
Can you hear me? Let's see. So I am Tabitha Boschetti, Assistant Planner with Community Development. Indeed, I am here to talk about annexation case 20-0001. I do have a PowerPoint presentation I will try to pull up for you. Here we are. Apparently, I should have done that first. We will be presenting a staff report for this annexation to refresh, and of course for anyone at home. When we're talking about annexation, we're essentially talking about changing the city boundaries, including a new area of land as part of the city. In this case, we're talking about land that is currently part of unincorporated Washington County. So right now we're looking at an area which has been proposed actually by the city's own engineering division, essentially for a segment of proposed right-of-way currently owned by Washington County, and which Washington County has consented to have annexed into the city of Tualatin to provide for a future road that would be a city road rather than a county road. To get ahead of any possible confusion, current maps refer to the street as 120th Avenue. We plan to call it 119th in the future because that makes a little bit more sense with regard to its location, which you can see on the current map highlighted in yellow here. And a bit more formal tax map view of that as well. Essentially, this is an area where PGE's recent development is here. We have some other industrial development going on in this area. And so generally here, to review the criteria as we've heard in summary, this needs to be, of course, within the urban growth boundary, an area that is eligible to become part of the city of Tualatin. It meets various metro and state code. In this case, the current owner is Washington County, which has provided its consent. And of course, just to review that we are in this case talking only about the process of bringing this area into the city through annexation rather than, say, the development of the roadway itself. So generally in our staff report, we find this proposal would meet the criteria, also moving it into the Clean Water Services boundary just to keep boundaries nice and tidy and aligned. To date, we have not received any public comments beyond agency comments, and staff would like to recommend approval of City Council File ANN 20-001, as well as a corresponding ordinance adopting that annexation.
All right. So I guess city is technically the applicant, correct?
Yes, the City of Tualatin is the applicant.
All right. So pretty much you did steps number 1 and 2 with the staff review and the applicant providing testimony in support of the application, correct?
I mean, I don't know if our engineering division, we do have Kim McMillan, I believe, if
Okay.
she wants to make any additional statements about this project. I know she's available for questions.
Hey, Kim.
Good evening, counselors. This annexation was something that we partnered with the county on in order for the Majestic to build the road. And we asked that we be in charge of the permitting and the inspection of the road to facilitate that happening much, much quicker than going through a county review process.
Okay.
So then they asked us to go ahead and annex it as, you know, part of the trade in services. And we agreed to do that, to bring it before you for annexation, because we couldn't promise annexation, of course, but we could bring it before you for consideration.
All right. Okay. We will now hear from those in support of the application. Is there anybody at the poll center or online base who has stated they want to make statements of support?
No, Mayor, there's nobody at the poll center or online for statements for or against.
I was going to say, they just got, yeah, so there's no one there in opposition?
Correct.
All right. This is the time for counselor questions. Anyone have questions? People shaking their head no. All right. With that, if there are no questions, I will now close the hearing and we can enter into council deliberations.
Make a motion for first reading by title only of ordinance 1432-20.
Second.
All right, let me scroll back up so I get all the verbiage here right. All right, I have a motion and second for reading by title only for ordinance number 1432-20. Any questions on the motions? I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote, starting with Councilor Brooks,
Aye.
Councilor Kellogg.
Doesn't it need to be read by title or no?
Don't we have to
Oh, you're right.
first and then he reads it?
Aye.
Councilor Pratt,
Aye.
Council President Grimes,
Aye.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Morrison,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So now Sean can read.
Ordinance number 1432-20, an ordinance annexing portions of Southwest 120th Avenue, withdrawing the territory from the Washington County Enhanced Sheriff Patrol District and annexing territory into the boundary of Clean Water Services, ANN 20-0001.
All right.
Motion for second reading of ordinance 1432-20 by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for reading by title only of ordinance number 1432-20. Roll call vote, starting with Councilor Brooks,
Aye.
Councilor Kellogg,
Aye.
Councilor Pratt,
Aye.
Council President Grimes,
Aye.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Morrison.
Yes.
I vote yes, so it's unanimous. Second reading, please.
Ordinance number 1432-20, an ordinance annexing portions of Southwest 120th Avenue, withdrawing the territory from the Washington County Enhanced Sheriff Patrol District and annexing territory into the boundary of Clean Water Services, ANN 20-0001.
All right. Motion to adopt ordinance 1432-20.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 1432-20. Councilor Brooks,
Aye.
Councilor Kellogg,
Aye.
Councilor Pratt,
Aye.
Council President Grimes,
Aye.
Counselor Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Morrison.
Yes.
And I vote yes also. So ordinance 1432-20 is adopted unanimously. Thank you. All right. So down to the last item on our agenda tonight is our council communications. And I'll start in the order I'm seeing people's pictures and how we've been voting. So I'll start with Councilor Brooks tonight.
Before we go into communications, and I should have brought this up around when the minutes were, but I just had a question around the communications around the rule regarding the rule changes. That my question was about communications to council, and Sean had mentioned that they were going to put something in there. So I just want to follow up that happened, as far as if there were changes that we would get communications around those.
Communications as to the two ordinance changes?
Yes.
Yes, so there's been no changes since the last meeting. And the ordinance, I don't believe either one of them had an emergency clause in them, so they're still not effective until 30 days from the date of adoption. So they will be effective in May, and then we will certainly start the process to, in the meantime, to put that process in place to allow for people to get notice of any changes to the Public Works Construction Code or the HR rules.
And the council to get notice.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I wanted to be clear about. Thank you very much. As far as communications go, I just want to reiterate our appreciation for both our city staff and our police department during this particular time with a global pandemic, which is still such a strange thing to even wrap my head around, to have the understanding of what it is to be in public service, whether it's through the police or whether it's serving the city as an employee. There's a different sense of gravitas around that word. And also, I think, a deepening of understanding, not just in general, with the general public in times like this, of what people really do to show up to help make sure that things are safe, and that people, and putting themselves on the line to serve the public. So I just wanted to reiterate again my gratitude for all the work that everyone's doing. I also want to say one of the committees that I attend, the city committee, the arts committee, we haven't been meeting since this started. So I just want to say that I miss seeing the people on the committee, and that I'm thinking of them, and I feel bad that we haven't had an opportunity to meet for a while. The other, my other committees, I haven't had other committee meetings. I have attended meetings with Representative Prusak and other community leaders from District 37, and have been staying up to date on local as well as national responses to the pandemic, to try to make sure that I make choices that are the most informed choices and choices that protect public safety to the best of my ability. So that's just something I'm dedicated to doing. I'm not doing it with a lot of fanfare, but I am doing pretty rigorous research reading, and especially from a public health perspective, since that's something that is easy for me to understand to the best of my ability in these times. So I appreciate also everybody else on council working together, and I'm very grateful, Sherilyn, and I'm sorry Linda's not here anymore, but to Linda as well, for putting together the program to help the food pantry and our local restaurants. I think it's a marvelous idea, and I'm excited to participate. The other thing that I want to just say, one last thing, is we had a wonderful letter that I found out about through the Community Police Foundation, thanking our police officers, and there was a contribution associated, but the biggest piece of it was the public reaching out and saying how much they felt helped by the police officers. There was a health situation with someone being confused, and the way that the police officers helped the citizen's husband was made her feel very well taken care of and very safe. And it's just another situation, an example and real life story about how well the city is doing in so many ways, despite the current circumstances. And for anybody out there who's struggling, that's sick, or has lost anyone, just we're thinking about you. And you know, it's a very tough time in a lot of different ways. And so, but the city is, and the leadership is thinking about you. Thanks.
Robert.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 items. First, I want to reiterate Linda's comments for staff, and particularly Jonathan Taylor's work on the Economic Stabilization Fund grant program. I'm sure each of us probably got a few phone calls from businesses that applied but didn't get the grants, which could have been a very sour experience. But Jonathan took phone calls from each of those, explained to them why they didn't get the grant. And, you know, that's all people can ask for is transparency. So while we wish we could have done more, I'm very proud of what we did on that program. Second item, and everyone on council knows this, but because it is publicly broadcast, I want to acknowledge all those folks who won volunteer awards from the city. I know that cities put that out on social media, but we can't thank those folks enough. They supplement our staff's work and enrich all the programs that we offer. So congratulations to all the nominees and the winners on that. And the third thing, and if you've been monitoring Nextdoor, you've seen this. I can't encourage people enough, if you're out in public, to wear a mask. It's not a huge burden. They are hopefully widely available now, or at least more widely available than they were. As we nationally think about turning a corner on this, it's not time to put a break on the preventative measures. If any time, it's to continue those. And so, you know, don't get into obviously public shouting matches over it, but if you can access a mask, please wear it. It's going to help all of us in the long run. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe.
Thanks. Valerie.
Oh, I'm unmuted. I'll go with the 3 items following Councilor Kellogg. The first was actually to copy Councilor Brooks, that I just wanted to thank the police department and the you know, all the city staff. They've gone through the same unexpected changes in life that everybody has, and they've had to be there and keep things going, have this give us all the best sense of normalcy they can, and keep us safe. So and keep everything functioning. So I just want to really thank them for all of that. Second, I just want to say it's been kind of interesting that I've been part of the Tualatin Community Garden, and they give, I think it's thousands of pounds of produce and things to the Tualatin Food Pantry every year. And it's been so strange. It's always been so fun to get together and do the gardening and put the manure in the beds. And I've been down there a couple times, and it's just been amazing, even with social distancing, how much hard work has gone into that and how many things are already planted. And we've been communicating via Facebook. So it's been really great to see how much is getting planted. And several people, including myself, we're also putting beds in our yards to help build up that produce, because we know there's going to be a bigger need this year than ever. And third, I just wanted to bring up that I think as we go forward here, you know, some things are going to get loosened up, and I know that we're looking towards that. And I really think it's going to kind of ebb and flow back and forth until we get a vaccine in place. And I think it's really important that we work together with our surrounding communities, if we get funding, to look at what the priorities are, and maybe we could leverage that together, and that we work together as we go through upcoming soft openings of things that we're, I guess that's more the mayor's role, but just to make sure we're not putting an undue burden on the community or ourselves as we move forward. That's it.
All right. Councilor Reyes.
Sorry. So I did everything everyone's saying. I think the city, the community has come together during this time of crisis, or as we kind of go through all this. I think people have been very kind. I've noticed that out there as I ride my bike or go to the store. People have been a little bit kinder, and no one gets offended by being, distant, which in other times people would think differently, but now everyone's like, okay, yeah, it's okay to be 6 feet apart. So it's okay that I come from a culture that we hug and kiss all the time. So even in my culture, people are okay, we're hi, and it's so weird for me because we're so used to hugging and, that's how we greet people. And so, but it's been a really great, respectful experience for a lot of people out there to see that it is important to keep that distance. I did attend the town hall that the governor had for the League of Cities, where she talked about reopening the how she plans, or her I guess her task force plans how to reopen the city, the state, and it sounds for me, it sounds really tactful and carefully, and I'm really happy that we are thinking about everything. I mean, I can manage my thing, but I don't know how people think about every single detail, and I am so impressed by that. I was really happy to be part of that meeting because it's just, everything. I don't even think about certain things, and they just talk about, tattoo parlors and all that. So it was a really good meeting. The other thing, I talked to I wanted to commend the team from the diversity task force, because I got a call from the mayor of Salem, who asked me, how are we communicating to the Spanish speakers within our city? And I told them we do Facebook and all the translations. And I was really proud of our city because they have a large population of Spanish speakers only, and they still haven't been able to start a kind of like an outlet to reach out to them in their own language. So I was very, very proud, and I kind of give them a few tips, and the Facebook and how people go there a lot because they're very global thinking. They're looking at things that are happening in their country or in their little town, and Facebook is such a good platform for that. So he started one for he asked his team at the city of Salem to start something. Check out what City of Tualatin is doing. And I thought that was really nice. And it was really open to 150,000 people that he has in his city. So that was really nice. So I want to commend the team for doing that and being so proactive in putting things out there for the community. So thank you. Yeah, it's just everything, as we wait, I think people are starting to see the new norm, and we're moving forward. And I really am proud of our team, I'm proud of our city and the staff there. So thank you very much for everything. And looking forward to see what else is out there and how we transition into reopening some things that the governor mentioned on that call. So thank you all.
Great. Council Morrison.
Yeah, actually got a couple of things here, and a lot of it, let me start first by repeating, or at least acknowledging, what Councilor Kellogg just said about wearing a face mask. New Seasons now requires one, I think, and again, can't stress it enough. It's not that big of a deal, I don't think, for everyone to just kind of practice that. I've got a long story that I'm going to keep really, really short, and both Councilor Brooks and Councilor Reyes touched on it. All of us have been involved in all these meetings, these Zoom meetings. Rachel Pusback's been holding one. Councilor Beatty out of Beaverton's been holding one. There's been the National League of Cities weekly meeting and others. Out of those meetings, going back 4 weeks, brought up at every meeting, including a town hall by Wyden and a town hall by Merkley, was the request for some kind of matching funds for the Economic Stabilization Act, which was referred to by Councilor Kellogg already, the $250,000 that our city gave. The Office of Oregon Business Development Department has now released 10 million total, but 5 million in one-to-one leverage to local business funds by cities for small businesses of 25 employees or less. So that just started, that's just getting rolled out right now. The details are really shaky, but it goes to the testament of all of us chipping in, all of us bringing up things that are near and dear to our hearts and pushing that at all these meetings where we have all the access to all these other elected officials. Also, last week, and also a result of just a lot of collaboration, a lot of conversation from multiple people, they released $1 million a week to the Oregon Food Pantry, which it'll drift down to the Tualatin Food Pantry. My understanding is they're beginning receiving it this week. In addition, I was really pleased to hear that several food pantries in the state who, for whatever reason, Westland was one of them, had a little bit of extra fund, and they reached out and gave some funds to the Tualatin Food Pantry. So it's a good example of cities helping cities. The other, Chief Steele commented about our resolution on the police. We always have your support, Chief. Ditto to you, Sherilyn, and your staff. And I want to point out, I mentioned this last meeting, that business is getting done. And again, just a great shout out to the staff. This annexation that we just approved today is another example of the staff figuring out a problem before it became a problem, bringing it to council, and all during this pandemic and getting it done. I attended the C4 Metro Subcommittee meeting. They are pushing the homeless initiative that Metro is really pushing. The recent polling on, apparently they were able, despite all their funding shortfalls, they did do some polling, and it apparently is looking very good. There are some shortcomings. There was a Clackamas County Commissioners debate last week, and the commissioners were pretty much split on supporting it. One of the reasons why they don't want to support, those who are against it, is because the Metro Clackamas County residents, Metro Washington County residents are paying for something that's a county-wide initiative. That said, Commissioner Chair Jim Bernard is supporting it. I know Catherine Harrington is supporting it. I've been supporting it because I think and I said this before, it's been said, it's the start of something, and we need to do something about the homeless. And so there's been a big push to try to get that out. For those of you who live in Clackamas County, Nancy, there are the Sheriff's Office has 4 candidates. I know that Representative Puszak and all the county commissioners have endorsed the undersecretary, and my mind just went undersheriff, sorry, and my mind just went blank on her. I've heard her speak twice. Very impressed with her. And for those of you who live in Clackamas County, look at your voter pamphlet, which is now out, and take a look. And then also, I'm going to again be pushing out, and I'm not sure exactly how to push this out and how to bring this up, but for 3 years now, I have been trying to raise the money that the city gives in our grants each September. It was $30,000 when I first came on council. We raised it to $40,000 last year. I've long advocated that it needs to be a significantly higher number, and I have several ideas of how to bring, where the money would come from and what it should be based on. And I'm going to begin pushing that here in the next week or two. So for those of you, anybody who wants to jump on my bandwagon and help me with some thoughts or ideas of how the best to push this, what the best amount is, what the appropriate way is to bring it up with Don and get his blessing, would appreciate the help. And I believe that's it. Thank you.
All right. Council President Grimes.
Thank you. At the risk of being redundant, I do want to thank city staff and all of our frontline workers, both for the city and as well as our police department. Going through the city, driving through the city, you see a well-run, clean, well-maintained, beautiful city. And then you stop and you remind yourself that we are in the middle of an unheard of pandemic lockdown. And you look around and you think, you know, it couldn't possibly be here, it couldn't possibly be affecting us because everything is just so wonderfully run and wonderfully maintained. And I'm so proud of the staff, and I'm so grateful for the frontline people that are out there taking care of our residents. It's just amazing. And I hope, Sherilyn, that you will just really pass on our most sincere gratitude and good wishes for them and how much we appreciate what they're doing. And the same thing with our public safety officers. I mean, I can't imagine what a difficult time this is and how they're being challenged in the types of calls they're receiving and the types of care they're probably having to give to people with the way things are. And just, you know, we recognize how hard that is and how wonderfully valuable they are, and just such gratitude. And everyone that you talk to, that you can talk to 6 feet away, you know, they all say the same things, which is business is getting done. The city looks great. The police are there, you know, considering how awful everything is, we look like we're in a wonderful position. And it's, you know, it's a lot of hard work by a lot of people that are necessary and on the front lines, and just huge gratitude. And I hope they feel that from us. And when this is over, I'd love to do some type of a party or reception or a fun luncheon or dessert or something that we can see everybody that had to work through this time and be able to tell them, like, one-on-one, how much we appreciate it all. So
I just thank you so much. Thank you for all your words. And I will pass it along, although I'm gonna think about perhaps taking snippets of these recordings and somehow passing your actual words along to the staff, because I know it's so appreciated, and your support is just, it means a lot. So thank you.
All right. Is that it, Nancy?
Yeah, that was it for me.
All right. I'll be brief. Everyone said everything so far about how well folks are doing here in the community and how we're looking out for them. So I'll just skip to the chase here and some of the things that have been going on. The meetings continue. Chair Harrington and the mayors have their meetings every Monday at 2 o'clock, discuss what's going on in the county. There's also the Thursday meeting where the mayors join in the chair's meeting with the state delegation. So the mayors get to tell the legislators what's going on, and the legislators let us know what's going on as far as the COVID crisis. On April 17th, I was part of the Westside Economic Alliance, had a Zoom meeting where they had the Alliance for Affordable Metro folks present their opposition to the Metro bond measure that's on the ballot in May for wraparound services. They gave a presentation that was done very well. Lots of Q&A. On the 22nd, the board of Westside Economic Alliance met, and there was a lot of discussion on the stance of the board on the Metro bond for wraparound services. And Westside Economic Alliance is going to stay neutral on the request. They thought both sides had very good points, and that at this time they couldn't endorse it or be against it, and they're going to stay neutral on it. On the 23rd was a meeting day. So the Metro Mayors Consortium, Chair Kafori from Multnomah County presented what's going on in Multnomah County as far as the COVID-19 response, along with Dr. Jennifer Vines. Dr. Vines is the lead Tri-County Health Officer, letting us know how they envision maybe reopening the 3 counties It will be done together. The counties are not going to do it individually. So 3 counties will work out a strategy on how to reopen this area. Greater Portland Inc. Small Cities met later that afternoon, and the merger with the Portland Business Alliance is off. They're not going to pursue it. There are some issues with the Portland Business Alliance economically, financially right now. I think a lot of chambers are feeling the hurt right now, so it's on the shelf. The second part of the meeting was a roundtable discussion on what cities are doing to keep their economy stable and help out their businesses. And a lot of praise was heaped upon Jonathan Taylor for the program he came up with. A lot of cities are talking to him about what the city did and how he set it up to emulate it in their communities. So again, a big kudo for Jonathan Taylor and city staff for putting that together. I was on the same call that Councilor Reyes was on with Governor Brown. She released that PowerPoint presentation I sent you on her phased plan of reopening the state. And she got peppered for an hour with questions from folks all over the state. And I give her credit. Some people, don't like her. Some people like her. There's all over the map on how you feel about Governor Brown right now. But she took these questions and she took it like a champ. She didn't dodge questions. The challenge that she has is, of course, every area of Oregon is different, but she's got to set policy for the whole state. It was interesting how, the coastal communities don't want to open up again until the end of the year because they are so at risk of one big outbreak and their hospitals be overwhelmed. So they don't want tourists coming to the coast for the rest of the year. You've got folks in Redmond who have a total opposite view. So, and that's her challenge is to balance that. She specifically said, I can't open beaches in one place and not beaches in other places because next thing you know, the whole state is going to that beach that's open. So she's got to be mindful of getting this right. And her the 3 phases, and she led with, the dentists being able to start practicing again, and elective surgeries being allowed to proceed. And she'll, what her plan is to have the subject matter experts who are looking in the restaurants and bars, how that should be handled, how haircutters and nail salons should be handled, and businesses, so that she can roll this plan out, hopefully by the beginning of May, so people have an idea what can happen and when. And the big part of her plan is testing and having rooms available and machinery available in case there's an outbreak. And then testing, actual testing for COVID. Those 3 big requirements have to be met before we can move on from phase to phase. And finally, had a Washington County Chair Mayor meeting today where the main discussion was about reopening and the vision that Washington County and the chair has on how Washington County, working again along with Clackamas County, Multnomah County, will work to get people back to work and keep them safe. Big discussion was a lot of the cities, including Tualatin. What about summer events? Is there any vision of what's going to happen with summer events? And right now, people are pretty much mum. Not canceling them, but eyeballing them. Some cities have gone ahead and done it, but at this point right now, most of the cities and most of the mayors are hoping not to cancel summer events. But we got to see what the governor comes up with and what the 3 counties come up with as far as public safety and making sure there's no rebound of COVID-related illnesses or deaths. And the last thing I have is I received a letter. This was fun. I mean, you don't get these a lot. So I received a letter from Emmy Johnson. Emmy Johnson is a 10-year-old who lives here in Tualatin, and here's her letter. Dear Mayor Buenik, I have a confession to make. I know that Tualatin is a beautiful community, but most people don't notice the important parts of having a healthy and beautiful environment. To have a healthy, clean, and happy community, we need to stop littering. I have been seeing a lot of trash and pollution around the neighborhoods and school properties. I think we could help and fix that by having a no pollution policy, a policy where We will clean up after ourselves and not waste gas from our cars. A policy where you can't litter in that certain place or do something that will cause the earth or our city to stay unhealthy. Now the policy wouldn't have to be exactly everywhere, but in the places that you think need some help with the surrounding environment or that are dirty and polluted. I think that putting a policy up will make our city healthy and happier. You can also add new things that will keep our city healthier. Your friend, Emmy Johnson. It was a terrific letter, and I was put a smile on my face, especially when I called her today. So I called her because she had her number, called, her mom answered, and her mom was like, "What? You're who?" And I said, "I'm calling Emmy back about her letter." So mom was ecstatic and tells Emmy that I'm on the phone, and Emmy goes, "No way, you're pulling my leg. He's not on the phone." So it was a lot of fun. I got to discuss with her what the city is doing, our city council vision, our goals, and some of the programs we have that are trying to clean up our community. She's pretty excited. And their family wants to get involved with Neighbors Nourishing Communities, Robert, because they have some garden beds and they love to grow some food and donate it to the pantry. But it's one of those letters you don't get a lot of, so I'm framing this and keeping it. And that's all I have. So anybody else have anything else tonight? Sherilyn.
I wanted to wish Bates Russell a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bates.
Happy birthday, Bates.
Happy birthday.
Mayor, I have one real quick thing.
Sure, Paul.
I want to add to what you said about Governor Brown. On the call, if you remember, she referenced a poll of, she said it was in the high 60s that approved of the way she's handling it. And she was dead wrong. And she's now getting national recognition. 82%, this was a valid poll. It was in the Oregonian last week. 82% of Oregonians approve of the way she's handling it and what she's doing. And I think it's again, just to repeat what everybody else has already said here tonight. We're all kind of in this together, and we've all been supportive of all of the initiatives all the way up the line. And so the entire state is, I think, showing that support, starting with the governor, working its way down. And I think she's done an outstanding job.
Yep. All right. Anything else? I have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
A motion second to adjourn our meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and good night. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you for
Thank you.
attending.
Bye.